Good evening, students. So today in this video, we'll see the demonstration of thread programs. So already we have studied what exactly the thread is. Thread is nothing but a single flow of execution. So when you start executing your program, so it will start execution on a main thread. So which you need not to create it separately, automatically it will be created. So if you want to go for knowing what is the name of the current thread, if you want to go for changing the name of the currently running thread, then there are so many options available in the thread class, which is a built-in class available. So by making use of that class methods, for example, thread.currentThread, then set name, the name if you want to go for changing the name of the currently running thread. Then slip is a method which allow the task to be assigned to that thread to display and slip it for 1 second. So 1000 is nothing but the parameter which will be passed to the slip. It's in a millisecond. So 1000 millisecond is nothing but 1 second. So after displaying one value, 1 second it slip it, and after that it will go for displaying the second value, third value, fourth value, like that. You will be getting the output of the program. So in this first example of a thread, we have called the name of the current thread. We have called the current thread method of the thread class to know what exactly the name of the current thread and what exactly the format in which the information about the currently running thread will be displayed. So here thread is already built-in class. We created the object of it, that is thread equal to thread of current thread. So now the information about the current thread, display it. Now after that we have changed the name of the currently running thread to my thread. Then after changing the name, we have displayed the value of it. Next, in this task, we have given the main thread to display the numbers in the reverse order, that is from 5 to 1, by slipping it for 1 second after displaying each number. As the thread is slip is a method available in the thread class which throws an exception called as interrupted exception. So we have included that method inside a try block. Catch, interrupted thread exception, main thread interrupted. Otherwise, allow it that process to continue until it completes the execution. Now we'll see the execution of this program. So the name of the program is first thread demo.java. Then after compilation, run it. First thread demo. Now if you see, okay, the current thread name is a main, the priority it has displayed, given it's a 5, then the group name of the thread, it's a main. Now we have changed the name of the thread from main to my thread, so it has changed. Now it's a my thread 5 main. Now if you see 5, it has displayed first, then it slept it for 1 second, then it displayed 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. So this is what the demonstration of the first thread. Now if you want to go for creation of your own thread, then there are two methods to create your own thread. So first one is called as by implementing the runnable interface, which includes a run method. You need to override that method. And another is by extending a thread class. So we'll see both the methods. So here we have defined a class called as a new thread, which implements a runnable interface. As it's an interface, it includes a abstract method called as a run, which you have to provide a body in this new thread class. Then thread T is just a one object Then it's a constructor, default constructor, in which we have created this new thread, and the name we have given it as the demo thread. Then as this is a new thread, we are going to create it, so we call this thread as the child thread. And the main thread will always be available when the program starts its execution. Then when you call this t.start, remember the run method of the runnable interface is going to be executed. So this t.start in turn is going to call this run, and in the run method what we have done is that we told child thread to display the numbers from 5 to 1 in the reverse order, but after displaying the one number you slip it for 0.5 seconds, that is 0.5 seconds. Then you go for displaying the second number, then slip it for 5.5 seconds, then third number, again 0.5 seconds slip, like that it continues. So this is a task we have given it to the child thread. Then we have displayed a message exiting the child thread. So in the main thread, so when we have created a child thread by calling new thread, create a new thread. Now there will be two threads running parallelly. One is a child thread, another is a main thread. So in the main thread, what we have done, in the main thread also we have displayed the numbers in the reverse order, that is 5 to 1, but we have given a sleep type between the two numbers as a 1 second. So it means that when the child thread completes the two iterations of the for loop, the main thread is going to complete the one iteration of the for loop. So in this way, you will be getting the output of the program. Then if any errors are there, then those are going to be handled by this catch, then main thread exiting. Now we'll see the execution of this program. Java C second t demo.java. If you see, first it has showed you the demo thread. You can check it. Main thread completes a one iteration. By that time, child thread completes the two iteration. Then one main thread iteration, two child thread iterations. Then one main thread iteration, it is a last iteration of a child thread. So it is completed only one iteration. Then exiting the child thread. Then still there are two more iterations of the for loop of a main thread. So it shows you main thread 2, main thread 1, then the main thread exiting. So this is what you can go for creation of a new thread by implementing the runnable interface. So what you have to do here, your class has to implement the runnable interface, and it has to provide a body for the run method. So the task which you want to assign it to the newly created thread, that task you have to write it in the run method. And main will always be executing. So one more task you can assign it to the main thread. So like that, thread execution continues. So now we'll continue with the creation of a thread by extending the thread class. So this is another technique to create your own thread, which we call it as a child thread, and inform the main thread to continue with its execution and child thread to continue with the assigned task. So now here the syntax is class, name of the class, extends is a keyword, you have to use it. As I told, the newly created thread class should extend the thread class. Then here is a default constructor we have included. Now super is a keyword which we call it to call the super class constructor. So already in this thread class we have defined the super class constructor. So that will be called. Then display the information of the newly created child thread. Then start. Once you call the start method of the thread class, in turn it is going to call the run. And in the run method, you need to assign the task to the child thread. Here we have assigned the task as display the numbers from 5 to 1 in the reverse order. And after displaying a one number, we have told thread to slip it for 0.5 seconds. As the slip method throws the exception, we have included this for loop inside a try block. Then, as the try should be followed by catch block, we have included a catch. Interrupted exception is a exception thrown by the slip method. So next, exiting the child thread. Once the child completes the execution for assigned task, so we have displayed a message exiting child thread. Then third T-demo is another class in which includes a main method. Now here main thread will start its execution. So after execution of this statement, the child thread also be created and it will start executing it. Now again we have told main thread to display the numbers from 5 to 1, but after displaying a one number, we have told main thread to slip it for 1 second, whereas for child thread we have told 0.5 second to slip it. Further part is same as that of the previous program, and after completion of a main thread task, we have displayed a message main thread exiting. Now when you run this program, which is similar to the previous one, only the difference is that there the class implements the runnable interface. Here it extends the thread class. Only that is a difference. Otherwise everything is the same and you will be getting the same output as that of a previous program. You can check it here. If you check child thread, thread demo thread 5, 5, demo thread 5, main, then main thread starts its execution. Here child thread has started the execution, then the main thread, then child thread, main thread, then child thread 2 times, main thread. So you cannot guess the output in this parallel execution of a thread, because we don't know, or it is not in our hand which thread will be getting the control of the program first for the execution. It may get the child thread first or the main thread first. Based on that you will be getting the output. So for everybody is going to get the different output for same program. Next, we go for the another program, that is fourth T demo dot. Here what exactly we have done is that, so in the previous two programs we have created only one child thread and there will be a main thread, and both will start their execution parallelly. Whichever the thread is getting the control of the program for execution, that thread started the execution, and based on that it has given the output. Now in this program what we are doing, instead of creating only one child thread, we are creating 3 child threads. 3 child threads, and for all the 3 child threads we have assigned the same task, that is displaying the numbers from 5 to 1 in a reverse order. Okay, so for that we have used the first method, that is create a new child thread by implementing the runnable interface. Then we have taken the 2 fields, one is a string, another is of type thread. So to assign the name of the thread, we have taken this name and T, in which we will be storing the thread information. Name equal to thread name, T equal to new thread this comma name, then display the new thread information and start its execution. When you call it start, it's going to call the run method implicitly, and based on that it is going to show you the output. Now here remember 3, so name plus exiting. So whichever the thread completes the execution, that thread name along with exiting message will be displayed. Then we have included a main method in the 4th T demo class, 3 threads we have created, and the name of the thread we have given it as a 1, 2, 3 along with a main thread. So now totally there will be 4 threads running in this program. So name of the threads are 1, 2, 3 and main. So now here, as 3 threads are running, before completion of all these 3 threads, the main thread cannot complete its execution. So we have told main thread to sleep it for 10 seconds. So by that time, all these 3 threads can complete their execution, and the main thread will resume back and further it continues. So why it is a 10 second? Because each thread to complete the task requires minimum 5 seconds. So based on that, we have assigned it. And based on that, it is going to show you the output. Now we'll see the execution of this program. So the name of the program is fourth-demo.java. You can check it here. 3 threads created, that is 1, 2, 3. Then 1 displays the number 5, then 3, then 2, then 2, 4, 1, 4, then 3, 4, then 3, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Then first, third child thread completes the execution, then 2, then 1, and then the main thread exiting. So this is what the execution of multiple threads. When you create a multiple threads, you need to do this task. But here the problem with this program is that how much time to assign for the main thread, so that before that all the newly created threads completes their execution. It's a tedious job because we can't guess anything, or any one thread may require more time than the assigned time. And if the main thread completes before the child thread, then your program may give you the wrong result, because here is that main thread always has to end at the last. So as to overcome this, with this problem, we are going to define one more new class called as fifth demo.java, where whether the thread is dead or alive, we are going to check it by using isAlive method. And once the thread completes the task, it is going to join the main thread by informing it by using this join method. So isAlive and the join, these are the 2 methods we can use it to check whether the child thread has completed the execution or not. If it has executed, ask them or inform it to the main thread by calling the join. Once you call the join, means waiting for threads to finish. Once the child thread informs to the main by calling the join, main will come to know that the child has completed the task. Now I can also complete my task. So this is what a thing we have demonstrated in this program. So here class new thread implements runnable, same program. Thread name, display the thread names, call the start method, which in turn is going to call the run, displays the numbers from 5 to 1 in the reverse order, like that. So here what we have done, we have created 3 threads, OB1, OB2, OB3, and the name for the threads we have given it as a 1, 2, 3. Now after creation of a thread, we will be checking the status of the thread, whether it's alive or whether it's a dead. So is alive, is alive, is alive. If it is alive, it will return you as a true value, which is a Boolean value. If it's completed a task, it will return you as a false. So once completed the task, they are going to call the join method so as to inform to the main that we have completed its task. So after completion of a join method, we can go for checking the status of all the newly created threads. If their status as false means they have completed the task, then we are informing main to exit it, as all the thread childs have executed or completed their task. So here we can go for running this program, f5 fth, that is piptdemo.java. th. You can check 3 threads created, then status is true, waiting for threads to finish. Then 1 displays 5, 2 displays 5, 3 displays 5, then 2 got the control of the program, so it will be displayed 4, 4, 4, then 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. Then child thread 2 completes the execution first, then 1, then 3, then the status of all the 3 threads is a false, means they have completed the task. Then we are telling main thread to complete the task. So in this way, we can make use of isAlign and the join method. Now we'll go for the synchronization. How we can go for using the synchronization between the parallelly executing threads. Yes. So now suppose the program which we have taken over here is that we are going to display 3 messages in the pair of a square bracket. That is, first opening pair of a square bracket, message is a hello, then closing pair, then synchronized world. So these are the 3 messages we want to display within a pair of a square brackets. Hello, synchronized, then world. So now here we have defined a class called as a call me, which contains a method called as a call, takes a 1 parameter of type string, and first we have displayed the opening bracket, then a message. So message will be displayed over here as hello. Then we have told that thread to sleep it for 1 second. So if it sleeps for 1 second, the second thread may resume the task, and it may go for again a opening brace and a next message, then opening brace and a next message, then closing brace, closing brace, closing brace. But this is not a output which I want. So next we have a class caller implements are enable. Here we are going to assign the values, who is going to be executed and which format we want the output. So target.call message. Now this is a message which is defined in this class called as a call me. So you need to create an object of that. Target is a object of a call me. Through that you can call this call method, where it is going to display the output. So in this run method, we have just called that method, and based on that, it will show you the output. Now 3 objects, or 3 what do you call it, as the threads we have created, OB1, OB2, OB3, and the message which I want to display is a hello synchronized world. So after completion of all the tasks, I am telling main thread to complete the task. So this is what synchronization demo, but it is not a synchronized program. We'll check the output of this. Then what are the changes we need to do it to that we'll see. Synchronized demo.java. SYMCH. If you see, first it has displayed you the world into a pair of a square bracket, but closing bracket is not available. Then it's a hello, then it's a synchronized, and then the 3 closing brackets. So this is not a output which I was expecting. So for that, what I have to do, I have to make this method synchronized. synchronized. So if you call it as a synchronized means, once a one thread calls this method until it completes the task, the control of the program will not be given to the other thread to start its execution. Once it completes, then it will be given to the next thread, then it will be given to the next thread. That is what we should make use of this synchronized keyword. So after doing the changes to the program, save it, otherwise you'll be getting the previous output only. Synchronized. Check it, is ZED or SED? Okay. Okay. Now you can see, first it is displayed a hello, then what, then synchronized. That too in the pair of a square bracket. So this is what the working of a synchronized keyword, which will be attached either to the block or else to the method. So once you attach this synchronized keyword to the method, it is going to display the assigned task in the specified order. If you do not attach it, then in any order you will be getting the output of the program. Okay. Then coming to the last program, which is a producer consumer problem, which we have studied in the one of the previous video. So it's a PC demo. So here we have used this synchronized. So what exactly the producer consumer problem is? Here producer has to produce an item and the consumer has to consume an item. So the produced item will be first placed into the queue, and then the consumer will go for consuming it. So remember, until and unless producer will not produce the item, consumer will not go for consuming the items which are not produced. So for that we have used this synchronized method for the get and the put. Get is nothing but acquiring, that is consumer is going to acquire this. Put is nothing but producer is going to produce the items. So for that we have defined a class called as a queue, which takes a one variable of type integer n and another is of type boolean, value set equal to false. Then get, when you call the get method, remember, means the consumer is getting that item from the queue, then value set is equal to false, notify that I have consumed it. So if you have consumed, then go for producer to produce that item by calling the put method. So again wait, because until and unless producer will not produce, consumer cannot go for consuming it, and consumer cannot consume it unless the producer will not produce the item. So for that, once the producer will go for producing it, change the value set to true, then display that number and notify it. This is what a producer class, which implements a runnable interface. Start the producer process, call the run method, call the put method, so as to produce the item and place it into the queue. So once the producer produces the item and placed it into the queue, the consumer can go for consuming it by calling the get method. Then it's a demo, that is create producer as well consumer. These are the two parallel child processes, child threads we need to create it, and based on that it will focus. So until and unless you press Ctrl C, it will go on producing and consuming the items. Want to see? Check the demonstration of it. PC demo .java. PC demo. It will go on. Now you can see it here. Producer produces 1775 item, consumer consumes it. Then producer will go for producing next item, then the consumer can go for consuming it. So like that in this order, once a producer, once consumer, once producer, once consumer will go for consuming the items. But if you do not use the synchronized keyword, then there will not be any synchronization between the producer and a consumer. So based on that, producer may on producing the items, the consumer may on go on consuming the items which are not yet produced. So that is what a problem we faces. For that, we should make use of a synchronized keyword. So this is what about the today's video on the multi-threading programming.